Hi students, are you fine? Hopefully everybody is fine. We meet again to discuss a new topic. Today's topic is graphic or image. As usual, before we start with a new topic, let's recap the previous topic regarding text. In previous class we already knew why the text is important. Text is like a gateway to the knowledge. From a text become a word, from combination of several words become a sentence. From the sentences become a paragraph and finally become a manuscript, or a book, which is contain a knowledge that possible to be learned by the others. In the topic also we have learned regarding font, typefaces and font elements such as kerning, leading, bold, size, font cases and serif, or sans serif. Then, in the same topic we have discussed regarding computer and text where we have touched on hypertext markup language, which is the acronym is HTML, a dynamic hypertext markup language, which also known as DHTML. There is a common technique we use to display a text on the web page. We also learned regarding tool to perform a font design and editing. Finally, we have discussed on the multimedia and hypertext linkage system on the multimedia project. You have been told about the hyperlink, nodes and several techniques more that related navigation on the multimedia project. Now, we want to take a look on our topic overview for today's discussion. Today's discussion will talk on preparation to creating an image. Next is about how we want to make a still image. Then the discussion continued to 3D drawing and rendering. Of course, when we talk about image, discuss on color topic is can't be avoided. Before we end our discussion, we will talk about the file format of the images. And finally you will be exposed to the tools that you can use to design or create the image. After we knew the overview of the today learning topic, now we look into the learning objective for today's discussion. It is because to ensure our today discussion is on the track, and you as a student, be able to achieve and understand all the important point that been delivered during the discussion later. Our learning objective for today's topic is we will discuss on the various factors that apply to the use of image in multimedia project. The capabilities and limitation of bitmap image. The capabilities and limitation of the vector image. Then, we will discuss on the aspect of the 3D modeling. Last but not least, we will discuss on the color and color palettes in multimedia. Finally, we will talk on various file types used in multimedia project. The introduction. Graphic can be defined as a combination of several graphic elements can usually be scaled to a different sizes, colorized or patterned or made transparent. Placed in front or behind of the objects or be made as visible or invisible on command. In order to produce an interesting graphic it is depend on how you blend those elements, on how you select the colors and fonts, the tricks that you use to catch the eye of your users, on how expert you utilized your tools. And of course it is required your designing skills, talents and creativity that related on the visualization. Moreover, some of the graphic designer will put their feeling and soul during designing in order to feel the satisfaction producing the graphic. Before you start designing, there is a preparation that you must consider. First you must have an idea on what you want to design. Normally, we will use a storyboard to sketch the idea. Some of the object will need the anatomy to create or design it. So, you must have a very good knowledge regarding to the object that you want to produce. Then, you must specify and organize the tools that you will use to produce the design. Of course you will need a monitor when you want to produce the design by using a computer. But the number of the monitor is depend on your budget and size of the project. In general, still image will be used a lot in the multimedia project. But, it is depend on the project. Too many unnecessary still image also is not good for your project. The display resolution of the image is depending on the project. The resolution is influenced by the size of the output screen, for example 4K, Full HD, HD output and etc. In order to cope with the image resolution, it is also need to be considered about your hardware and software of your workstation. If your workstation is not support the high resolution image, means you need to consider either release the project to other developer, or take the project but invest to a new powerful workstation. Now, we look on how to produce a still image. We will talk on types of still image and 3D drawing and rendering. For a still image, we have two types which are bitmaps and vector. Bitmaps is a combination of two words which are bit and maps. A bit is referred to the electronic digit that's 0 and 1, or we know them as a binary numbers, while maps is refer as a 2D matrix of these bits. Therefore, the bitmaps is a simple matrix of the tiny dots that form an image and are displayed on a screen or printed. Bitmaps image format is suited to create a photorealistic image, complex drawing, and any image that required details. Other information regarding bitmaps as you can read on the slide. But I want to talk on the figure. 1 bit depth of the image can produce two colors, normally black and white. The formula is 2 power of 1. Then, 2 bit depth of the image can produce 4 colors, which means 2 power of 2 equal to 4. Again, 4 bit of depth of the image will produce 16 colors where 2 was powered by 4. So, if you set the setting of your tool in order to create an image by using 8-bit depth of the image, the color will be produced by your tools are 256 colors. The last point in the slide is talk about the source of the bitmaps image. The source of bitmaps is actually you can get from the ClipArts galleries, as you can read in the orange box. Then, you can obtain the bitmap images from the bitmap software, such as Adobe Photoshop, Macromedia Firework and etc. Next, you'd be able to retrieve the bitmap image from the camera or screen capture such as using a snipping tool or print screen. Lastly, you also be able to get the bitmap image by using scanner as shows in the orange box on the slide. Next, we will talk about the vector image. Vector is a line that is described by the location of its two endpoints. Vector drawing uses Cartesian coordinates where a pair of number describes a point in two-dimensional space, as the intersection of horizontal and vertical lines which is known as x-axis and y-axis. The numbers are always listed in the order x and y. In three-dimensional space, a third dimension also known as depth is presented by a z-axis. Slide shows the example of tools that you can use to create a vector image. Computer-aided design program is normally used to produce a technical drawing, also known as AutoCAD drawing. Adobe Illustrator also be able to produce a vector image, which is you can save your design in SVG file format. The other example tools which can be used to produce the vector image as you can read on the slide. Now we look into the strength and weakness of bitmaps and vector image. First, vector image use less space in your computer compared to bitmaps image. Second, download vector image much faster compare bitmaps image. Third, vector image can't be used for photorealistic image. Fourth, vector image required plugged in to display it on the web page. Fifth, vector image is much easy to scalable and resizable. Sixth, bitmaps can be converted to vector image by using auto tracing and vector image can be converted as bitmaps image by using save as or export the image to the JPEG or bit file format. Next, the discussion continue with 3D drawing and rendering. The slide shows the example of the 3D tool you can use to create a 3D image. Other example tools is not listed in the slide are 3D Max and Maya software, which is common tools to generate the 3D objects. Next, is a basic features normally included in 3D software. The basic features normally contained in the 3D tools are modeling, extrusion, lathing and rendering function. Modeling function is to put your object on the 3D space. As we know, the 3D space consists of x, y and z axis. Next is extrusion function. The function is to extend the shape of the object to the required distance, either as a perpendicular or along a defined path. While lathing is a function that allow you to rotate the shape or object in a specific axis. Lastly is rendering. Rendering is a function that allow the tool to apply all the effect to the object or shape that was specified by the user. Next, is panoramas. Panoramic image is produced from the several numbers of images that be putted together in sequence around a circle, and been saved in a single seamless image. As you can read in the slide, there are several tools that you can use to produce a panoramic image. Moreover, today's our smart devices have the panorama function in order to produce a panorama image. I believe that everybody has experienced a panorama function in your smart device camera. If you not try yet, I encourage you to try it. Be creative as you can to produce a nice and bombastic panoramic image. Just go and try it. Okay class, we have a break 5 minutes. Come back again after 5 minutes. Okay, what the color of your shirt right now? Why you choose the color? Is there any story behind that? Sometimes color plays an important role in our daily life. Color can influence our daily mood, style of working, to impress other people, or to get any attention from other people. Color is a vital component of multimedia. To understand the color, we need to understand the source of the color. How the color exists. Did you know how? So, the explanation will begin with the light. Light comes from an atom, when an electron passes from a higher to a lower energy level. Thus, each atom produces uniquely specific colors. This explanation of light known as the quantum theory, which is the field of study is fall under physics domain. So, color is the frequency of a light wave within narrow band of the electromagnetic spectrum to which the human eye responds. Human eyes is sensitive to the red, green and blue. Hence, by adjusting combinations of these three colors the eye and brain will interpolate the combinations of color in between. This is the psychology. Although the eye perceives color based upon red, green and blue, there are actually two basic methods of making color, which are additive and subtractive. Additive color is method where the color is created by combining colored light sources in three primary color, which are red, green and blue. This is the process used for cathode ray tube, which is stand for CRT, liquid crystal, LCD, and plasma displays. On the back of the glass face of a CRT are thousands of phosphorescing chemical dots. These dots are each about 0.30 mm or less in diameter, and are positioned very carefully and very close together, arranged in triads of red, green and blue. These dots are bombarded by electrons that paint the screen at high speeds, which is about 60 times a second. The red, green and blue dots light up when hit by the electron beam. Your eye sees the combination of red, green and blue light and interpolates it to create all other colors. Means, your brain has been lied by the technology and science through your eyes. Have you realized that been lied by the technology? Means, start from the television been invented, no other color exists in the early technology except red, green and blue. Next, we continue with subtractive color. Subtractive color is a method to create the color by combining color media, such as paint or ink, that absorb or subtract some parts of the color spectrum of light, and reflect the others back to the eye. Subtractive color is the process used to create color in printing. The printed page is made up of tiny halftone dots of three primary colors, which are cyan, magenta and yellow. CMY, for color printing, includes black, which is technically not a color, but rather, the absence of color. Since the letter B is already used for blue, black is designated with a K. Thus, for color printing is CYMK. The color remaining in the reflected part of the light that reaches your eye from the printed page is the color you perceive. All these factors make computerized color pretty tricky to manage. The fact that a paint program uses RGB to create the colors on your monitor, while your printer uses CYMK to print your image. Furthermore, to display the color on the monitor you should set the image at least 800 x 600 resolution. The image should be supported your target user monitor screen. Moreover, the color depth minimum is 32 bits. But today's monitor has a minimum screen resolution is 1024 x 720. Hence, You need to take into account your user screen monitor resolution in order to get a better quality of image after delivered the project. Color models or methodologies used to specify color in computer terms are RGB, HSB, HSL, CYMK, CIE and others. Using the 24 bits RGB model, you specify a color by setting each amount of red, green and blue to a value in a range from 0 to 255. 8 bits of memory is required to define those possible colors. 8 bits times 3 equal to 24 bits. Why must times with 3? Because we had 3 color spaces which are red, green and blue. Therefore, to describe the exact color, from range of 0 to 255 is equal with 256 colors. Then 256 is powered by 3. The answer is 16,777,216 of colors. In other words, there are 16,777,216 colors are possible to be generated from the combination of the RGB. Hope you be able to understand what I've said just now. If you still do not understand, I will explain during the lab session. But now, we need to continue our lecture first. Because too many numbers been used to generate the specific color. The first developed web browser, the developer has used the hexadecimal number to represent the colors on the web browser. In order to write the color code in the hexadecimal number, the hashtag symbol is used at the front of the hexadecimal number. To help you to understand what is the hexadecimal number to represent the color, you can go to the website, https://html://colorcodes.com, but if you still do not understand, you can ask me at the end of this lecture. Next is HSB and HSL color models. HSB stand for hue, saturation, brightness, while HSL is stand for hue, saturation, lightness. You can specify hue or color as an angle from 0 to 360 degrees on a color wheel, while other than hue just a percentages. Saturation is the color intensity where 100% of saturation is pure color, while 0% of saturation the color is white, black or gray. For the lightness and brightness is the percentage of black or white that is mixed with a color. The 100% of lightness will yield a white color and 0% is black. The pure color is the 50% of lightness. Moreover, we still have several color models which supported by our monitor screen. As you can see, we have CYMK, CIE, YIQ, YUV and YCC color models. CYMK, as I mentioned earlier, is for printing and less applicable in multimedia project. CIE was developed back then in 1930s by the International Commission on Illumination. CIE is describe color values in terms of frequency, saturation and illuminance. CIE more closely resembles how human beings perceive color, but certain devices such as scanners are unable to replicate the process. YIQ and YUV were developed for broadcast TV composite NTSC. They are based on luminance and chrominance expressed as the amplitude of a wave and the phase of the wave relative to some reference. Luminance means brightness and chrominance is a color. The detail is carried by luminance in black and white. So, reduction in color does not result in the loss of image definition detail. This analog process can be translated to a number value so that the computer can use a palette to assign a color to a pixel. Lastly is YCC. YCC is produced by Kodak. It is used for a photo CD image. YCC is to provide a definition that enables consistent representation of digital color image from negatives, slide and other high-quality input. Color palettes are the mathematical tables that define the color of a pixel displayed on the screen. The image in the slide shows the example of the color palette. The most common palettes are 1, 4, 8, 16 and 24 bits deeper. When the color monitor available for a computer, managing the computations for displaying colors severely taxed the computer hardware and memory available at the time. 256 colors in 8 bits images using a color palette were the best a computer could do at the time. In 24 bits color system, The computer works with 3 color channels of 256 discrete shades of each color. Red, green and blue are represented as the 3 axes of a cube. This allows a total of 16,777,216 colors. 24-bit system covers what the human eye can sense. Next point is dithering. Dithering is a process whereby the color value of each pixel is changed to the closest matching color value in the target palette using a mathematical algorithm. How well the dithered image renders a good approximation of the original depends upon the algorithm used, and whether you allow the image editing program to select the best set of 256 colors from the original image, or force it to use a predetermined set of 256 colors. Now we're almost toward to the end of the today topic. Most applications on any operating system can manage JPEG, GIF, PNG and TIFF image format. An older format used on the Macintosh is PICT. PICT is complicated but versatile format developed by Apple where both bitmaps and vector objects can live side by side. Next is a Microsoft image format. The device-independent bitmap, which is known as DIB, also known as a BMP, is a common Windows palette-based image file format similar to PNG. TIFF is a tagged interchange file format, was developed to be a universal bitmap image format and is also used extensively in desktop publishing package. PCX files were originally developed for use in ZSoft MS-DOS Paint packages. These files can be opened and saved almost all MS-DOS Paint software and desktop publishing software. Next is the cross-platform image file format. DXF was developed by Autodesk for AutoCAD drawing. IGS or IGES was developed by the industry as a broader standard for transferring CAD drawing. Furthermore, these formats are also used in 3D rendering and animation programs. JPG or JPEG, PNG and GIF images are most common bitmap formats used on the web and may be considered cross-platform as all browser will display them. Next is the file format that not mentioned in the slide. PSD file format is Adobe Photoshop file format. Adobe PDF manages both bitmaps and drawn art as well as text. It is commonly used to deliver a finished product that contains multiple assets. While AI is Adobe Illustrator file format. The final one is CDR, which is a CorelDRAW file format. Before I summarize today's discussion, I want to highlight about the image file compression. Particularly for bitmap images, the file format you choose for editing an image and saving it is important. This is because file formats are either lossless or lossy depending on the method used to compress the image's content. With lossy file format, each time you save an image, a bit of the file's accuracy is lost. If you open it again, edit a while, and save it again, even more data will be lost. These cycle of opening, compressing and saving are called generations. JPG or JPEG files are lossy. Common formats that are lossless or nearly lossless are PSD, PSP, GIF, PNG, BMP, TIFF and RAW. So, you are encouraged to edit and save your work or image using a lossless format. Now, we are finished to discuss our today topic. As a summary, you already learned about the bitmaps and vector drawn image. Hope you understand the difference of both images. You also already know about the image can be incorporated in the multimedia project. Next is about the 3D image. Moreover, about the software or tool that you can use to perform the image editing. Finally, we already discussed extensively about the color and image file format. As additional info, I already tell you about the image file compression. So, that's all for today's lecture. If you have any question, let me know. I will try my best to answer all your questions. See you in the next class. That's all. Thank you.